You know, there are a lot of video games out there, and I've played a lot of those video games. Like, you've got your Call of Duty, your Resident Evil, your Cooking Mama Bon Appetit, and all of these games are what you would expect from the word video game. Like, in Call of Duty, you got your first-person combat. In Resident Evil, you got your horror. And in Cooking Mama, they give you the chainsaw halfway through that lets you slice demons in half. But there's one type of video game, one genre, if you dare say, that has simultaneously produced some of the most gorgeous, well-written, dare I say, masterpieces to have ever graced my tiny little Oculus lenses, and at the same time produced some of the worst video games to ever even touch my Xbox library, and that is the open world genre. Open world games in the past couple years have gained so much infamy, mainly due to how inconsistent they have been. When you're checking out at your local GameStop with your brand spanking new open world game, you're basically flipping a coin with Disney World on one side and Joe Exotic Zoo on the other. Within the past 3 years alone, we have seen some of the greatest video games of all time come from this genre. Like, we've had Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, that is one. God of War. I have like 20 other games written down on this, but you get my point. But within that same time frame, there have been a lot of really bad games. Fallout 76 showed that you can sell a game purely on hype. Mass Effect Andromeda showed that you don't really need a game to sell it. No Man's Sky showed that you can make a game and still have it feel like there is no game. Like, if there's one word to describe the open world genre, it's volatility. Because for every half-decent game that comes out, you get 20 other pieces of trash alongside it. Okay, so just a quick recap. You got your bad games. You've got your masterpieces. And then you got Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild just blows every other open world game out of the water and into freaking low Earth orbit. It is that good. However, I am not saying that it's the greatest game ever made, no. It has its flaws, it has its mistakes, it has this abomination that came straight from the seventh circle of hell. But the reason why Breath of the Wild is so important as an open world game is because it emphasizes the open world itself. I know that sounds stupid, just let me explain. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a phenomenal game. It has a fantastic story, beautiful sceneries, interactive environments. It's just overall a really detailed and really fine-tuned game. But one of the main problems it has is its missions, and specifically its main story missions. Whenever you start a mission in Red Dead Redemption 2, it plays like its own linear game. You start at point A, talk to someone, ride your horse over here, go to point B, shoot people, oh no, we have to leave now, and then you go back to point A and then you talk to people there, and then congratulations, you beat the game. And it's not just Red Dead. Almost every single open world game, good or bad, follows this pattern to an extent. But Zelda does something a little bit different. You open the game and you're greeted to this small, isolated area of the map. You learn the basics of the game, you get some abilities, and then once you get your paraglider, the game just places a small, tiny little teensy dot on the map, and it just tells you, go here. Now, if you're a terrible, boring human being, then yeah, you'll probably just go straight to the point and ignore everything around you. But the game encourages the player with little landmarks and points of interest that entice you to explore. It makes exploring an integral part of the game rather than another chore, because it's not about the destination, but about the journey and the smoking hot princess at the end of it. But one of the most important parts of your journey is exactly how you get to your destination. And that's where Breath of the Wild's traversal system comes in handy. In Breath of the Wild, you have your basic forms of movement, like running, swimming, and horseback riding. And this is what you would expect from most other games. But Zelda's two most important features are its climbing and its paragliding. These two elements add a new level of verticality that opens up a new foray of exploration that makes you want to go and find new areas. One example of this is whenever you encounter the dueling peaks. The game gives you the option to just go right through the middle of it, but since you know that you can climb up to the top and just jump off, now that I'm saying that, I should probably change that. But since you know that you can just climb up it and paraglide off, you're encouraged to go out of your way and scale it, and in turn you find new areas and new enemies to fight. And this isn't the only instance of this happening in the game. There are tons of moments just like this where just out of pure curiosity, you're encouraged to go out of your way and explore areas where in other games you would never even touch. But it's not just curiosity that encourages you to explore these new areas. And oh my God, this is a transition. We are transitioning now into my next point. Nintendo put a lot of thought into the map and world of Breath of the Wild, where other games would focus on historical accuracy or the interactivity of their worlds. Nintendo focused on one main thing: landmarks. When you create a game with minimal story and almost no guidance, a lot of emphasis is placed on the player and what they can do. You can't just throw somebody into a huge map and expect them to have fun, no. You have to engage them, and then more importantly, you have to keep them engaged. In Breath of the Wild, this becomes apparent right whenever you unlock your first tower. These towers are essential for the exploration in Breath of the Wild because they act as a guide for where you've been and where you haven't explored yet, and they allow you to unlock different areas of the map. Nintendo intentionally lit up the shrines and towers in the game with bright orange and blue colors because they're meant to catch your eye and make you want to go towards them. Once you make it to one of these towers, you're able to see a shrine or a mountain or a point of interest, and the snowball effect starts to happen where you just go more and more off the main path and onto your own adventure. Every person who plays this game has their own unique, different experience. For me, I started heading to that main objective, then I got sidetracked by a tower, climbed up it, saw this cool circular formation, flew in that direction, and then all of a sudden, I was going in the complete opposite direction of where I was supposed to be going. I know of people who went directly south of the Great Plateau and into the southwest corner of the map where the desert is, and some people who just decided to go straight into the main castle area. But the best part is, there's nothing stopping you of going wherever you want to go. When developing Breath of the Wild, one of the most important things that Nintendo focused on was freedom and letting the player play the game in whatever order or style they wanted to. From the map design to the stories to the quote chemistry engine, Nintendo made the game with the player in mind and developed all the abilities, locations, and items with creativity in mind. Nintendo wants you to abuse the system. They want you to find new ways to kill that boss or climb that mountain because they've given you the platform and the engine to do so. It encourages you to find new ways to explore and to do so creatively. Breath of the Wild is the quintessential open world game because it doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't give you any restrictions. It lets you play the game in whatever fashion you want to, making the world feel just that much more open. When Breath of the Wild released back in 2017, it redefined what an open world game really meant. It threw away the idea of linearity and proved that you can make a good open world game while not holding the player's hand the entire time. Nintendo set the bar for the open world game in the stratosphere, and, at least for now, Breath of the Wild will remain the king of the open world genre.